Welcome to today's talk. My name is Regina DeMeo, and I'm a family law attorney in Maryland and DC. I've been practicing for over 20 years. And with me today is Robin Tucker. She's an experienced psychotherapist in the DC area. She lectured with me at the DC bar a few times. And then last year, when I was a professor at GW, she came and spoke to my students who loved her talk. So I'm really happy to have you here today, Robin.
Hi, Regina. I'm happy to be here. Excited to be here. Thank you.
So this topic of toxic relationships keeps coming up, and I was hoping maybe you could help us sort of define, first of all, what is a toxic relationship?
Sure. So I think one of the reasons why it comes up is because it's not always obvious when you're in a toxic relationship. I would say that there's a range of toxicity in relationships. There's the obvious physical violence kind, but often there's the more subtle, covert kind of toxicity in a relationship. But my very simple litmus test for a toxic relationship is actually if it doesn't feel good. So today I'm going to be focusing on the more subtle type of toxic relationships, and I'm going to keep repeating myself over and over again that if it doesn't feel good, that's because it's not a good relationship or a healthy relationship. So the clients that I work with here primarily are successful professionals. And they're often surprised to find themselves in a toxic relationship. They have a lot of confusion about it. And it's confusing because in other areas of their lives, they're on track. Professionally, they're on track. They're educated, they have good relationships with their friends and family members. And I think the reason why it's so difficult to discern that they're in a toxic relationship is because it's something that happens gradually, I think, over time, this erosion of your sense of self in a relationship. You don't really see it. He's not throwing things. She's not hitting me. It's okay. They're stressed out. So it's not always crystal clear. And one sign that I know that someone is often in a toxic relationship is when clients ask, is this normal? Is this normal? Like they're confused. They don't know anymore because they've lost touch with their sense of self. So I just want to quickly go over sort of the 6 primary hallmarks of a toxic relationship that I see on a consistent basis. And the first one is that you censor yourself in the relationship. So you're afraid to say what you're thinking or be honest about how you feel. Been there, right? I mean, we've all done a little self-censorship, to care for, put other people's needs first. But if this is happening on a consistent basis, you're probably in a toxic relationship, because in a healthy relationship, you feel free to say whatever's on your mind. You're excited to share how you're feeling or what you're thinking, or to share your opinions, even if you don't always agree. It's a safe place to do that. So that's what I want for you and for my clients, is to feel good in relationship, not feel consistently bad or questioning yourselves. The second hallmark of a toxic relationship is you are constantly criticized or belittled, or your thoughts or opinions are minimized. And again, this can be really subtle, and it's often the toxic partner often says, "Oh, I was just kidding." So they may say something like, "Oh my gosh, you're wearing that?" Or "You're going to eat that?" And if you question that, they say, "Oh, you're so sensitive. You're so sensitive. I was just kidding. I was just joking." So one thing to watch out for is that the minimization over time begins to go both ways. So you're with a partner who's minimizing or criticizing your experience. And then from that conditioning, from being subjected to that in our environment, we start to do that to ourselves. So we start to minimize what we know or criticize what we're thinking. For example, we might be thinking about changing jobs, and our toxic partner might say, "Why would you want to do that? You know, you're secure where you are. Why would you want to take a risk?" And often that partner is projecting their own fears onto you. And again, minimizing your longing or desire for growth because that threatens the relationship. So in a healthy relationship, you feel supported, you feel uplifted. You know, when you come together, the two of you together is better. You know, I mean, it is it's energizing. It's not draining. Clients who find themselves in toxic relationships and don't quite know it yet often feel overwhelmed, drained, and exhausted, and they can't always pinpoint exactly why.
Well, because it's exhausting to walk on eggshells all the time.
It's exhausting to walk on eggshells all the time. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to always be anticipating. We call that anticipatory, anxiety. What's going to happen? It's a minefield. Or I better not bring up this topic because they'll really blow up. They've had a hard day. So you're expending more energy managing your partner's emotions than you are focusing on yourself. So you're no longer feeding, nourishing yourself. You're being depleted. So absolutely, that's a huge sign, is the minefield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this often leads to this pattern of self-betrayal. So that's number 3 for me. This is a big one. It's when they ask you if you want to do something, you have absolutely no desire to do that thing, get together with their family or certain friends who you don't enjoy, and you say yes anyway to keep the peace. Again, it's that managing piece. So you're putting their needs before your own.
Or you stand up to them and say, "I'm not going to do it." And then there's a consequence to that.
Absolutely. And depending on how strong you're feeling in yourself, you may or may not be up for that conflict.
Right.
I think over time, your ability to negotiate conflict with them gets smaller and smaller and smaller, because I think what happens initially, it feels like there's about 3 phases. Number 1, you can't believe that you landed in this relationship and it's been 3, 4, 5 years. You can't believe it. It's a slow burn. And then secondly, you find yourself sort of defending yourself all the time. Like you are always on the defensive, or like what you spoke to is, walking on eggshells. And number 3, we sort of end up either becoming depressed or sort of numbed to our experience. And that's a coping mechanism. That's where we go when we're in survival mode, is we protect ourselves and we reduce our perspective. We just do the bare minimum to get through it. So let's see. Okay, so saying yes when you mean no. A healthy partner wants for you what you want for yourself. So they'd be thrilled. So if you say, no, I don't want to do this, but I want to do that instead, a healthy partner is going to be curious and say, really, tell me more about that. Or maybe we could alternate, let's negotiate this so it feels good for both of us, because a healthy partner wants you to feel good. Number 4 is, as I mentioned, is constant blaming. When you're in a toxic relationship, a toxic partner wants you to believe that you are the source of all discord in the relationship. Oh, you're too sensitive. Oh, it's never enough. I can never make you happy. They don't want to take responsibility for what they contribute in the relationship. Yeah. So, in a healthy relationship, your partner shares the load or the responsibility for how it's going. You work together on it. You feel supported. Number 5, this is a really huge one that I see often because, again, I'm working with really self-aware, educated, intelligent clients, and they're often in a state of confusion. They no longer have a strong sense of themselves or like this well or anchor or knowing that they can resource anymore, because when they are subjected to constant criticism, and that's all the feedback that they're getting, we start to have an experience called cognitive dissonance, where it sounds, rationally, that it's mean for someone to criticize your appearance or call you stupid or something like that. But then there's another part of us that says, oh, well, he's just trying, or she's just trying to be helpful. They know I want to lose weight and they just want to help me get back on track. And so there's this back and forth, this discord, and there's not that foundation to hold on to anymore. So if you find yourself sort of always questioning what's happening and you feel destabilized, then you're probably in a toxic relationship. In a healthy relationship, you are supported. Your partner encourages you. You feel supported. They believe in you. And again, like I said, they want what's best for you. And lastly, I'll say number 6 is, if you have a constant sense of fear, even though it's low level fear, you may not fear for your safety. Maybe your partner has never laid a hand on you. Maybe they don't raise your voice, but you have a sense of fear or unknowing, like you said earlier, of not knowing what to expect. What's it going to be like when I walk in the door? So you have a sense of dread. And, in a healthy relationship, you're excited to get together with the person that you're seeing. You're going to go meet them. You can't wait. You're going to go home again. It feels good versus feeling bad. So.
No, those are all great points. I think a lot of people think, oh, well, in a toxic relationship, like they're looking for like one big blowout event. And the thing I like to emphasize to people is sometimes there isn't this one big event. It's just 1,000 microaggressions, which I consider death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yes, I love that it is a culmination of these small microaggressions, like you say, and criticism and devaluing that has you questioning yourself and what you know.
So we don't have time to go into how people would develop an exit plan, but let's just say that that's important. And then you've completed that plan, so you've actually exited. Can you just briefly explain to people why it's important to go no contact?
Oh, no contact. Okay, this is a tough one for a lot of people because, again, you might love your partner. You may love your partner, but it doesn't mean that it's a lifetime, a safe enough relationship or a healthy enough relationship for a lifetime. So we have all kinds of relationships. So it's hard for people to let go of someone that we love. Of course, that's a really hard thing. You may love someone but hate their behavior. So no contact, by establishing no contact, you get that space that you need to reconnect with yourself and what you know. You sort of co-opted your experience for your partner. Your partner is telling you how you feel, how you think in a toxic relationship, and you need space to step back and reconnect with what you know to be true, with your own truth. So I am a huge fan of no contact. Maybe down the road, way, way down the road, when you feel safe and you are stable, again, you're in another relationship, you want to wish them well, by all means, go ahead. But I really discourage contact for a long time, until you are back to yourself.
No, it makes total sense. So if people want some resources to help them sort of discern whether, this is a relationship they need to exit, and also how to exit, what are some resources that you would recommend?
Yeah, there are a lot of great free resources like 12-step meetings like Al-Anon or Codependent No More. We always think of 12-step meetings as you have to be involved with an addict to attend those, and it's not really true. I think of Al-Anon as a boundary boot camp program, and it's free. They are all day long, every day, for free. And you can learn just little by little, one step at a time, how to establish boundaries and restore your sense of self through Al-Anon or Codependent No More meetings. There's also, I also encourage people to get a therapist, get a coach. You can find a therapist easily in your own area by going to psychologytoday.com, and there are all kinds of filters, insurance, etc., location, and going to a therapist is so helpful because you have this subjective person witnessing your experience and reflecting back to you. So that can be hugely helpful. Also, tell a friend. Shame grows in isolation and silence. So it's really important, if you have any sense that things are off, is to bring it to the light and, talk about it, say it out loud so that you can hear yourself and really get another viewpoint on your relationship.
Makes perfect sense. So if people wanted to work with you, how would they contact you? What's the best way?
Sure. The best way to contact me is to email me at robin@robintucker.co. Just reach out anytime. Yeah.
That's perfect. And during COVID, you're doing all these telehealth calls, so it's
Right.
easier than ever.
Yeah, so I have clients from all over the world actually right now, so I'm enjoying that a lot.
That's amazing. Well, thanks so much for being here today, Robin.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Regina. Good to see you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and take care.